Hello, welcome. Today I have with me Thomas Park Cole, the newest All Stars champion. And hello, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to have you here. And of course, first of all, congrats on the All Stars win. And I want to start it simply, like just was that win meaningful to you at all? Like, did this mean for you anything? Like the World Cup win did. Of course, not in the same scale, but just did it do anything for you?
I mean, it did a small thing. It was a slight. It was like an improvement from Grand League, to be honest. Like if we go back to Grand League, playing against Big, having a great performance in the first match, terrible performance in the second match, and then crumbling in the best of one. It was sort of a redemption, not against Big because Big didn't play well at all in our match, but I still played decently in that one. The redemption for me was in the final against Alliance, where obviously both teams didn't take it too seriously, but there was some seriously good gameplay had, and I was just happy to be able to perform. I think the issue I had in Grand League is I overthought it. I thought about it way too much. I just like, I was overthinking everything. Like
Hmm.
I felt so much pressure because I'm the player that has to win the rounds, and I felt the pressure of that. And then like when it became to the best of one decider, for some reason I picked the map which I wasn't feeling as confident on as the other one that was remaining, and it's weird, when you feel when you feel Vortex, like you can be good. Like we
Hmm.
showed against Alliance in the final. Like my God, we were insane in the All Stars final at Vortex, but it before that terrible. So it's a mixed one. But for me, it made me feel good again that I could play how I wanted, and so me and Carl used it as a exercise to see what can we do differently to not have so much pressure on one person. So we tried a few new things, and I learned a lot about how I should be playing um, matches from now on, and it highlighted a lot of things to me. So it was beneficial in that way. But in terms of like winning All Stars as a title, it's just a sort of another one, if you will. But it
Hmm.
was nice to prove that we could the beat Alliance in the end.
Yes, and even though the title isn't that much meaningful, um, we can see that the All Stars as a tournament has improved greatly since the first edition. And you are the perfect person to talk about this because you went 0-3, winning zero maps in the first edition. And it was, well, we can say it by choice, because you were heavily incentivized to hide your strats to have an advantage in the TMGL. But yeah, the only difference between those two tournaments was the level of competition, and the level of competition came from that we know the maps already. That this is literally the last time we will be playing those maps, and not the first time we see those maps. So was that the only difference that pushed all the players to try more, or was there maybe something more at play?
I think it's difficult to throw tracks which you already know
Hmm.
to a high level. Like with All Stars 1, you could literally just say, "Oh, I haven't trained yet," and just crash everything. Whereas with All Stars 2, you know the tracks. Everyone knows you know the tracks. You've won. Say, for instance, for us, we've won the season.
Yeah.
Like if we now go and don't play well in All Stars, then it doesn't make sense. But also, I mean, to be honest, that's what I wanted to do until I found out that we could have lost seed one. And then when Carl told me that we could lose seed one if Alliance win and all this sort of stuff, then we had to try. We had to put in our performance. So that was sort of the end goal for us. Make sure that we don't, lose our seed one for World Cup, because that means a lot more than not playing All Stars properly. So I think, yeah, having known the map incentivizes everyone to play the tracks better, but I still think there's a lot lacking in terms of why you need to play All Stars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna ask you because I'm not sure, but everyone was saying that finals were literally pointless. Didn't you at finals already have secured seed one?
Oh yeah, we already secured it.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
we
Okay.
were just joke like the chat between us and Alliance were literally
Okay.
just joking around and having a laugh. So, but the problem is we've wasted an entire weekend to get there. So me and Carl were like, after we lost the first one 3-0, we just said to each other like, "What are we doing? We've just wasted the whole weekend. Why don't we just like let's just play better, man? Let's just do this.
Yeah.
Let's fucking win, or at least try to." And then so we put up a big fight after that because uh, otherwise it was a wasted weekend. So that felt a lot great, like a lot better at the end of it when we did beat them. But at the end of the day, it did mean nothing. We won nothing really.
Hmm.
At that point, we had already secured seed one. So yeah, it was a bit of a pride thing at that point, just to
Okay.
show that we could play better.
There was one thing that was interesting to me that Masa said on Twitter, replying to me asking people like what did they think about the second edition. He said that players pretty much played this tournament out of respect because Nadio already knows about the issues. They will implement some changes, and he said that pretty much players played it out of respect. So I want to ask you, what does that mean? What the where is that respect directed at, and literally just what does that mean to play it out of respect?
I mean, God knows, to be honest. If we were seed one guaranteed, I mean, I imagine we wouldn't have played it at all. So I don't really know. I think, I mean, there's playing it out of respect and there's playing it because it's mandatory. We'll have to play it in
Hmm.
Grand League. So I think putting in the effort is maybe where he thinks is playing it out of respect. Um, I mean, they're in a team which is full time. Like they get paid. Like we all get
Hmm.
paid to play this. So like at the end of the day, we have to play it. But also we should play it to a level which is good. Um, Forget All Stars one because everyone was hiding strats, but this one everyone knows the maps.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. I mean, personally, I love the fact that Exalty B came
Hmm.
through and put on some shows because that was insane, and I loved watching that. That's what it should be about. It should highlight teams which have potential to grow. Stuffs and Wizzy, they're insane, and that one event has highlighted that is a team that should be in Challenger League, and that is a team that could potentially
Hmm.
battle Grand League teams. So I think that's what All Stars is for. I think All Stars could also highlight it in a way different ways, but I can imagine you're coming up to questions and how it can adapt it. So I'll let you do that bit. But I think, yeah, the out of respect thing, I imagine he can elaborate on Twitter a bit more what he means,
uh,
but I don't know.
okay. Okay. So this question
There
more
wasn't there
towards
wasn't like an
Masa. Okay.
internal discussion between the whole TMGL players. Oh, let's do this because this, and let's
Hmm.
play All Stars, guys. Let's do this. Like it was just we
All
all
right.
played it because we played it.
I get it. I get it. So let's start talking about the issues that were there, and you have already touched upon one that the All Stars should be the place where the lower tier talent, let's say, I don't want to say like they're worse or something like that, but from the lower tiers of competition, gets to shine, gets to show what they're capable of. And this is one thing I was thinking of: is All Stars too inclusive towards TMGL teams? Because all 8 teams participate. Should it be more exclusive? That so this is the tournament that you want to qualify for, you want to play, or not just a tournament that you have to play because everyone from TMGL plays it. And this way also allows for more teams from lower tier of competition.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I was just thinking of ideas in my head, like what could we do? What could we do? Like you could say, okay, no one from TMGL gets to play All Stars, and then you just see a select few from Challenger and regionals. But then again, is that good? I think an I an idea that I've had recently is like change it from 2v2 into like 4v4 maybe, combine a few teams together. and see how that plays out. And that would make it a lot more interesting. Chuck a cash prize for the winners, and then
Mm-hmm.
everyone sort of wins something. So like, I don't know, Solary can pair up with Exalty B because they're like one of the lowest EU regionals or something like that. Like it could be done like that, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think it should be highlighting things. I think that way, if you do say if it's a 4-man team, that kind of stuff, that does help other teams get highlighted because like you would be playing against more, but and it doesn't mean like so like it doesn't mean Alliance crushes
Mm-hmm.
everyone. Or it doesn't mean Solary or Big or those teams
Yeah.
crush everyone. It means they have to carry another team, and if you don't play as a team, it works. So
Mm-hmm.
that's an idea. I
But
think yeah.
we go into another topic that also is what should All Stars mean at all? Because this tournament, assume will stay for at least one more season until we change the formats again, uh, as we always do. But what I mean is, should it be a more of a spectacle type thing, or should it be like a serious tournament event? Because we could say we already saw both ends, because first edition was more of a spectacle because of the new maps, so showcasing of the new map pack. What can we well, the TMGL teams didn't really even try, so it was more for fun. And then we had the more serious approach this time. So should All Stars be more of a serious competition, or should it be more of a spectacle?
I mean, if it's going to be a serious competition, it needs to have a higher weighting of points. I mean, that's quite obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So having 30 World Tour points attributed to it, and it's going to be a TMGL team that is at the top of the season that will win it, I think it should change. It should be a lot higher. But I also think it should be a spectacle because it's meant to bring people to watch Trackmania a bit more. So and like have a little breather from the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be better placed in the middle of the season, maybe. Um, which, in my opinion, would be a lot nicer to have it then. Um, but yeah, if it's gonna be a more hardcore event, it needs more points. If it's gonna be more fun and enjoyable, it needs a better format for it, but also yeah, more inclusive and more
Mm-hmm.
fun for
Mm-hmm.
everyone.
So I had a dream today, literally today, that about this interview, that you have just won the All Stars, and the main prize were a pair of Crocs, for real. And I remember remember vividly you tearing those Crocs apart for some reason. But that's not really the point. The point is that when I woke up, I thought to myself, if All Stars had those pair of Crocs for real as a main prize, it would be a bigger incentive than what we already have, to be honest. Because we don't have any cash prize. We don't the water points, while the seating is kind of dependent on it, are pretty much worthless to TMGL players, since they are, well, already
Already guaranteed a spot.
guaranteed the World Cup spot, off of just participation in TMGL. And we already talked about the inclusivity of it all. So those are the issues that definitely touch this tournament. And we also seen the first edition with the new map pack. That was also very big issue that already got fixed. But how does it look from players' perspective? How did those issues impact you personally? Were there any other issues that maybe from viewers' perspective didn't show up?
Well, I mean, the first edition was supposed to be on the old maps, but too many players complained. Uh, I wasn't one of them. Obviously, we
Mm-hmm.
won the season, so we didn't care. But it was supposed to be on the old maps, and I think a couple of the new ones. I can't remember what the plan was, but they were supposed to be old maps. But people complained, and so the next one got changed to be, oh, we'll play the same maps again because it's a smart decision. So I feel like, I don't know, a lot of issues come from players complaining and
Are you talking
forcing
about the first edition or the second edition that they complained
first
about?
edition.
First.
Yeah, first edition. I mean, people complaining about using the old maps because they had a bad season, or we played these maps for too long now. And then the second edition gets changed because obviously you can't use World Cup maps,
Mm-hmm.
so we have to use the same maps again. So I feel like people complaining cause a lot of issues in wrong areas. Like, yes, complain about the map, complain about playing them for too long, cool, but I don't know. I think those ones keep to yourself. Complain about things that matter, like, 2v2 matchmaking, or
Mm-hmm.
things that matter a little bit more, like why are we not getting new sponsorships, why are we not getting progression in the game, why are we not having advertisement of the game anywhere. I think those things are probably a bit better than complaining about maps all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of tiring to hear. I mean, I don't mind complaining about maps. Like, this season we didn't play one of the maps at all. uh, and I wish there were maps. I wish that all the maps were a lot more diverse than what they are. We'll see for World Cup. Who knows what they're going to be like
Mm-hmm.
when they come out? But yeah, I think I'm losing the track of where we started this conversation. But
About the
there's a lot of
issues.
complaints about things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of complaints about the issues, which I just don't think are necessary, and it just fills up a lot of hatred towards the tournaments, which is never a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get, the new format comes out, they say last year, really positive. Everyone loves it. And now it's dying out. So I just don't know. I don't know what can be done. Like, changing the format every single season seemed to keep interest in TMGL. Whereas now, I don't know, like, it just it stagnates. I'm hoping, I mean, I think developers have to do obviously a lot more. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what we can do as players, but it just seems like something needs to kick it off somewhere. I mean, Wirtual's doing as much as he can,
Yeah.
and I think it's great. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the advertiser or the
Yeah.
pusher of how to get this game anywhere else. I'm not the marketing team, so I don't know. There's a lot of issues with, say, All Stars as a whole. I think you could just remove it and no one would care.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a lot of form. There's a lot of things that should change in TMGL to make it more inclusive and to make it more competitive. But we've had 2 seasons of it. The next season won't be till next year, so a lot can change till then. So I guess we'll have to see sort of what the World Cup brings, because that's what's going to have to decide what happens next year as well. So I don't know, we need a good World Cup, lack of issues, and that would hopefully spur on a lot more.
All right. So maybe to close it out, and not really ponder about those issues anymore. Um, I want to ask you, since you're a very experienced player, you have played in TMGLs, you have played in TPL, you have played before there were any leagues. You have won a World Cup in 2016. That was literally 7 years ago, so a long time. Um, and well, maybe not to speak only to the issues, but maybe if we scope out a little bit about the All Stars, the World Tour points, stuff like that, the value of this tournament as a whole. If we scope out, we can see that TMGL players are very favored in the redistribution of those points, stuff like that. And and maybe it could be fixed, for example, with changing the formats and to maybe going more a CS route with more single tournaments, stuff like that, to make one more valuable than the others, and be more inclusive towards all teams, open qualifiers, stuff like that. Something that is a bit more old school, but a bit more structured than it was before, for example. But I want to ask you, as a seasoned player that have played in practically every iteration of the system there was, what would be a system you would like to see, or you would think would be the most beneficial for players, and for maybe the scene? Just your feelings. What maybe just maybe like did which one did you enjoy the most out of all these years?
I mean, I don't even know if I'm the right person to talk about this. I don't watch other esports. I don't know what makes a game, what makes it,
Mm-hmm.
what makes everything tick, what kind of keeps things flowing. For me, I didn't enjoy it. Well, I know I've enjoyed it all, otherwise I wouldn't play it. But I mean, there was a bit before, obviously, I've been at the top to get to the top.
Yeah.
So I had to grind to get into the highest division in ESL, had to grind to get into the best team, had to then grind whilst in the best team to be playing each week. And so that was the main thing. So I think there was a lot to do to qualify for tournaments. I guess the issue is where I'm at now is that sort of proved myself, proved where we are, me and Carl are in each tournament. Like, I don't know, like certain teams I feel like don't need to prove themselves every single tournament to qualify for all these tournaments, because what's the point? Like, you enter a qualifier, everyone says you're going to get through. Obviously, it'd be an upset if you didn't, but like, I think in some scenarios there should be given places, but also I feel like, I don't know really. I think there should be some sort of quicker progression in terms of where people
Mm-hmm.
can and can't go.
Yeah.
I think the issue with that is we're trying to build an economy in a game nowadays. So people in TMGL would get salaries.
Mm-hmm.
If they suddenly fall out of TMGL, they then lose their salaries and suddenly have to find a new way of getting that. So and open whatever the Challenger League is not in a situation where they can be giving the people the same amount of money as Grand League. So it's difficult.
It's complicated. There are a lot of factors at play.
Yeah, way too many for me to even think of. But
Mm-hmm.
it's I don't really know. It's more like shoving money at something and hoping it works at this point. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of the way to go, because like
So
it's.
maybe just to finish it off, tell me which one like do you like prefer the good old days, or do you really like the state that there's that the esports of Trackmania is in right now? Do you like the leagues, or did you like going through the qualifiers, stuff like that, proving yourself, winning the world championship, of course, too, through that system?
I mean, the World Championship, you had to. I got invited, didn't I? I
Of
think I got
course,
invited.
but that came
So
with, of course, proving yourself before.
yeah, no. See, that's the thing though. That there was invites up until 2015. 2015, there was more invites, and then you had the opportunity to qualify for 2015. 2016, there was qualifiers but also invites. 2018 was solely through the Trackmania Pro League. So I mean, I prefer League because
Hmm.
you get a spectacle every weekend. Like
Yeah.
CPS, it was a team thing, but the league things are like solo players or now duos. There was a league, and that showed who was the best at the time. Whereas before, you would never know who was the best. So I feel like the way the game is now and where we are right now is the best it's been. Obviously, there's
Hmm.
always room to improve. Like in a better world, like we'd have millions of players all the time and have tens of thousands of people playing every day, but the game's not there. God knows how it's not, because it's
It's so old. Yeah.
the potential is like mental. How I just don't know how we're not there, and it's
Yeah.
confusing all the time because there's something going wrong up
Hmm.
above somewhere, in my eyes. But I mean, obviously, it might not be. It could all be going swimmingly and well, but I mean, look at where we are. We haven't got where we want to be for now for years, but we're in a really good spot.
Yeah.
You just hope that something can happen. So like if we had somehow like a massive sponsor come in to sponsor the leagues,
Yeah.
we'd be winning. But Don't have that
Yeah.
somehow. So yeah, I mean, I prefer completely where we're at now. I've loved Trackmania Grand League over the years. I love the laps. I love the losing the points was a really hard thing to take, but it was part of the game.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't have that, does it really like there's no interest. So I felt like that was a good thing. I wouldn't want it to come back
Yeah.
because we're in such a better position now of how team stuff is going. I think that is the best it's ever been. I think it's the most interesting. Yeah, I think we're in a good spot, and I don't really know where to I don't know where to propel it forward again. Because obviously solos were good, but
Hmm.
duos feels so much easier to play the game now.
Yeah.
Like for me, I got someone to practice with all the time and share everything with, and so yeah, for me it's much better. And I know it's harder to grind in to get to the TMGL. None of the teams are changing their players and things like that, but yeah, I mean, changes next year could make it easier, make it
Hmm.
easier on everyone. So I think there needs to be definitely a bit a more a better way of interchanging teams. But I think the issue is at the moment everyone in the Grand League deserves to be in the Grand League.
Yeah.
Like they are the top 16. You can't really replace them with someone else outside it because I don't think anyone else is matching where the Grand League's at. So maybe there needs to be more ways of being able to play against the best. For instance, Soldier season 1, not his best. Season 2, my god, what
Hmm.
a player. Like it's insane.
Exactly.
So I think the routes up to the top need to be a bit better in terms of people needing to play us. I mean, the likelihood of playing me and Carl outside of Grand League is minimal. We don't play the game.
Hmm.
It's more about somehow developing it so that everyone can get better. And I think matchmaking on hard tracks when you get to the level of that is good, but then again, you need all the people playing matchmaking. So
Yeah. But yeah.
again, there's so many. Oh, you could do this, but
Yeah.
you can't do it because you've got this. So I don't really know.
I
I
mean,
can I can spill all these ideas, but
there's
I
so
just
many.
don't know.
There's so many. But yeah, as you said, more opportunities for the teams from regionals from TMCL to play the big boys from TMGL will be great, but that puts us back in the starting point of All Stars and stuff like that. And of course, there's always something to improve on. So we can just wait to see what Nadio will do. We know all the issues. Nadio all knows all the issues, and we can just hope that there will be something better. But thank you for this discussion. Thank you for this interview. And to all the viewers, you can find all the links to Puck's socials in the description. Thank you very much for watching. And if you enjoyed, I invite you to leave a like and subscribe for more interviews in the future. Thank you very much.